Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. I'm so glad you're here with us today. We are doing something a little different, something that I think is going to be incredibly useful for everyone listening, especially if you are working on mastering English.
It's great to be here. And you're right, today is special. We aren't looking at a complex scientific theory or big historical event. We're looking at something much closer to home.
Literally, we are looking at your day.
Your day, exactly.
Like daily routine. It sounds so simple, right? It's the stuff we do on autopilot. But when you're learning a language, describing your day is actually one of the biggest hurdles. It's usually the first question people ask you at a party, a networking event.
So what do you do?
Yeah. Or what does a typical day look like for you?
Exactly. It is the universal icebreaker. But the problem, and I see this in all the research we pulled together, is that learners often, they freeze up or they fall into what I call the robot trap.
The robot trap. I think I've been there. Is that where you just start listing things like a machine?
That's it, 100%.
Yeah.
I wake up, I eat toast, I go to work, I come home, I sleep.
Right. It's grammatically correct.
It is, sure.
Yeah.
But so boring.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any life or color. It doesn't tell a story about who you are.
And that is exactly what we want to fix today. We have gone through a mountain of resources transcripts from podcasts like Easy English Talk and Speak Up English, some really deep discussions from Reddit grammar forums and vocabulary guides from English with Alex.
Yeah, a real mix of stuff.
And our mission really is to give you the tools to turn that robotic list into a natural flowing conversation.
We want you to be able to describe your life with personality. We're going to look at the phrasal verbs that native speakers actually use, the idioms that add flavor, and, the little grammar tricks that connect everything together.
And because we know we have a lot of English learners listening, we are going to take this at a nice, steady pace. We want to make sure every phrase is crystal clear.
Absolutely. No rush.
So let's start where the day starts. In the dark, usually.
Mm.
The morning battle.
The battle is real. It really is. And it starts with a linguistic distinction that trips up so many people. We have two verbs that seem identical, but they describe two very different states of reality: waking up and getting up.
I used to use these interchangeably all the time. I really did. But looking at the breakdown from English with Alex, they're definitely not the same thing.
They're definitely not. Think of it this way. Waking up is a mental event.
Okay. Mental.
It's the moment your brain switches on, your eyes open, you regain consciousness, and you realize, okay, I am alive. It is Tuesday.
But you were still warm and cozy under the blankets.
Precisely. You are awake, but you haven't moved an inch. Getting up, on the other hand, that's a physical event.
That involves physics.
It does. You have to remove the blankets, you have to swing your legs out of bed, and then, put your feet on the cold floor. You have to stand up. It's an action.
So the gap between waking up and getting up is actually where a lot of the drama happens in the morning. I might wake up at 7 because the sun is coming through the window.
Right, naturally.
But I might not get up until like 7:30.
Right. And describing that gap is a fantastic way to sound more natural. If you tell someone, I woke up at 7 and got up at 7:05, well, you sound like a very disciplined person.
Yeah, that person has their life together.
But if you say, I woke up at 7 but didn't get up until 9, well, that tells a very different story about your morning, doesn't it?
It tells a much more honest story about my morning, probably.
Know that feeling.
Now, usually there is a device responsible for this whole process, the alarm clock. And this brings us to one of my favorite confusing phrasal verbs. We don't say the alarm started, we say the alarm went off.
Go off. Oh, this is a nightmare for learners. It really is. Because the word off usually means stop or deactivate. You turn off the TV.
You turn off the lights.
Exactly. So logically, if an alarm goes off, it should be silent, right?
That would make sense. But, well, this is English.
This is English. In this specific context, go off implies a sudden activation, almost like an explosion. Think of a bomb. When a bomb goes off, it explodes.
Oh, okay.
When a gun goes off, it fires. We apply that same kind of aggressive energy to the noise of the alarm clock.
That is actually a really helpful image. The alarm is exploding with noise. So my alarm goes off at 6:30. It's making this terrible sound. My next job is to turn it off.
There you go. The alarm goes off, which means it starts, and you turn it off, which means you stop it.
Unless,
of course, you are one of those people mentioned in the Speak Up English transcript who relies on the snooze button.
I feel personally attacked by that transcript. The snooze button is my best friend and my worst enemy.
It's a dangerous friendship. The snooze button is that magic button that stops the noise for, what, exactly 9 minutes? It's usually 9 minutes, strangely,
Hmm.
so you can sleep just a little bit longer.
Just 9 more minutes. It's never enough.
It's never enough.
Yeah.
But this actually leads us into a really fascinating discussion about biology and personality types.
The birds.
The birds. The classic debate between the early bird and the night owl. And this isn't just about what time you set your alarm, it's really about how your brain is wired.
Okay, let's look at the early bird first. These are the people who, I guess, wake up naturally. They don't need the bomb going off. Their eyes just open. They are ready to go.
The Speak Up English source describes them as being most productive before lunch. They're cheerful in the morning. They're the ones who say good morning with way too much enthusiasm.
I know there are people. And there is that famous idiom, right? The early bird catches the worm.
Right. It's a very cultural idea that success, the worm, belongs to the people who start their day first. It implies that being late means you miss out on the prizes of life. It's very Protestant work ethic.
And early birds often use that other phrase, the one that can be a little annoying. Rise and shine.
Rise and shine. It's a command, isn't it? Rise means get up, and shine means be happy and energetic. If you are a night owl, hearing someone chirp rise and shine is probably the most annoying sound in the world.
Speaking of night owls, let's defend them for a moment, because I think I lean more towards being an owl.
A lot of people do. A night owl is someone who is active at night. Their peak energy, their creative time, might be at 10 p.m. or even midnight.
And the source mentions that for these people, mornings are just painful. They feel groggy.
Groggy. I love that word. It's so onomatopoeic.
It sounds like how it feels.
It does. It means you're awake, but your brain is still foggy. You're slow. You might be stumbling around. You can't form a sentence yet. You aren't fully functioning.
And this leads to a concept that I found really insightful in the research. They called it social jet lag.
This is a term that has gained a lot of traction recently. We all know what normal jet lag is when you fly from New York to London and your body is completely confused about what time it is.
Their body clock is on a different schedule.
Exactly. But social jet lag happens without ever getting on a plane.
So it's the conflict between your body and your schedule.
Yeah. That's it. Perfectly put. Let's say you are a natural night owl. Your biological clock, your body, says sleep until 9 a.m., wake up slowly. But your social clock, your boss, your school, your kids, says, nope, you must be up at 6:30 a.m.
So every single day, you are forcing yourself to wake up 3 hours earlier than your body naturally wants to.
And that creates a debt, a sleep debt. You are living in a permanent state of lag, like you've just flown across 3 time zones. It's why so many people feel exhausted all week and then just crash on the weekends. They aren't just tired. They are fighting their own biology.
That is such a validating concept. It's not that I'm lazy, I just have social jet lag.
Whatever helps you sleep better at night, or in your case, in the morning.
Before we leave the bedroom, I want to touch on a specific grammar point regarding time. We saw a note in one of the sources about how to say the time. We usually say 6:30, but sometimes you hear 6:30.
This is a great nuance for learners to pick up on. In conversational modern English, especially American English, we gravitate towards the digital numbers. 6:30, 7:15, 8:40. It's quick, it's precise.
That's what the phone says.
Exactly, it's what the phone says. But half past is still very much around.
Right.
6:30 is very common in the UK and Australia, and in more formal storytelling, or on the news, for example.
Mm.
The source points out that it functions almost like an adverbial phrase. It feels a bit more descriptive, a bit more traditional.
Is there a danger in using it for a learner?
The only danger is ambiguity. If I say, let's meet at 6:30, and I add p.m., it's crystal clear. If I just say 6:30, I need to make sure the context is clear. Are we meeting for breakfast or for dinner?
Sure.
But if you want to vary your vocabulary and sound a bit more sophisticated, throwing in a 1/2 or a 1/4 is a really nice touch.
And just a quick reminder on prepositions, it is always at for time, isn't it?
Always. I wake up at 7. Not in 7, not in 7. Specific times, get the at.
Okay, so we are up, we are out of bed, we have survived our social jet lag for another day. Now we move into the bathroom and the wardrobe. This is the morning routine phase.
Right. This is where we start sequencing actions. The Easy English Talk transcript lists the standard verbs. Brush teeth, wash face, take a shower, make the bed, all that good stuff.
I want to stop on wash, because there is a trap here depending on where you are in the world. The phrasal verb wash up.
Oh, this is a classic. A classic point of confusion between American and British English. Imagine you are an American visiting a friend in London. You've just finished dinner, and you want to be polite, so you ask, where can I wash up?
Okay, in my American mind, I'm asking to wash my hands and face. I want to go to the bathroom and freshen up.
But your British friend points you to the kitchen sink, which is full of dirty plates.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the UK and Australia, washing up almost always refers to doing the dishes. To wash up means to clean the cutlery and plates after a meal.
That would be a very confusing moment. Wait, why do you want me to clean your dishes?
It would be. So context is everything. In American English, wash up is for personal hygiene. Go wash up for dinner means go wash your hands. So learners just need to be aware of who they're talking to.
Good to know. Okay, let's talk about clothes. We have the general verb to get dressed, but the Cambridge phrasal verb source highlights a really important distinction between two others, put on and try on.
This is something native speakers do instinctively, but it's actually very logic-based. Put on is the functional act of dressing. I put on my socks, I put on my shirt. You are doing it because you were going to wear them for the day.
Right, the decision has already been made.
Try on the other hand, is an experiment. You're testing the clothes. You usually do this in a store. I'm going to try on these jeans. You don't know if they fit yet. You don't know if you like how they look.
So in the morning rush, I am almost always putting on clothes. I do not have time to try on 5 different shirts.
Unless you have a big date or an important job interview,
Yeah.
then you might try on 3 different outfits before you finally put on the winner.
That makes perfect sense. So try on is the test. Put on is the commitment.
I like that. That's a great way to remember it. Put on is the commitment.
Now, breakfast. Very quickly, we don't take breakfast.
No. We hear this a lot from speakers of, say, French or Spanish, where the verb often translates to take.
Mm.
But in English, you cannot take a meal. You have breakfast. I have breakfast. I'm going to have lunch. You can also say eat, of course, but have is just a little softer and very, very natural.
Okay, so we are fed, we are dressed, now we have to leave, we are heading out the door, we might take the bus, drive to work, or walk. But while we are moving, how do we describe our location? This brings us to a massive debate we found on Reddit. On my way versus in my way.
This is a huge one. And it's not just grammar. It's about spatial awareness. It's about where you are in relation to your path.
So let's break it down. If I'm going to work and my boss calls me, am I in the way or on the way?
You are definitely on the way. Imagine your route is a path or a road on the ground. You are traveling on that surface. You are making progress along that path. I am on my way to the office.
So what does in my way mean? It sounds so similar.
In implies you are inside the space of the path, causing a blockage. It means you are an obstruction. If there is a large rock in the middle of the road, that rock is in the way.
Oh, I see. It's an obstacle.
It's an obstacle. So if I call my friend and say, don't move your car, it's in my way, it means I can't get past it.
So if I call my boss and say, I am in my way to work, I'm basically saying I am an obstacle.
That sounds very weird. Sounds like you are blocking yourself. Or maybe you're stuck inside the road. You definitely want to be on the way. You are riding the path.
Now, there is one word that breaks all the rules here. The word home.
Ah, home, the rebel of the English language.
It's a special one. Usually when we go somewhere, we use the preposition to, I am going to work, I'm going to the bank, I am on my way to school.
Correct. We need to show the direction towards a noun.
But we don't say, I am going to home. That just sounds wrong.
It sounds very clunky to a native ear. We just say, I am going home, or I am on my way home. No to.
Why do we drop the to? What's the logic there?
The logic is that in this specific context, home isn't acting like a normal noun, like building or office. It's acting like an adverb of place or direction. Think of the words here and there. You don't say, I am going to.
You just say, I am going there.
Exactly. Home works just like there. I am going home. But, and here is the catch that proves the rule, if you swap the word home for house, the preposition comes back.
Right. I am going to my house.
Yes. Because house is a physical structure, a concrete noun. It needs the to. Home is more of a concept, a direction. It can stand alone.
That is a really subtle tip, but if you get that right, I'm on my way home, you sound fluent immediately.
It's seamless. It's one of those little things that makes a huge difference.
So we have commuted, we have arrived. Now we are facing the bulk of the day, the middle part, the daily grind.
Right.
Work, study, meeting.
This is the part of the story where learners can often lose their audience. Because let's be honest, work routines can be pretty repetitive.
And when we describe repetitive things, we tend to sound repetitive. I check email, I write a report, I talk to my boss, I eat lunch.
The robot returns. The list is back.
How do we kill the robot here? The Easy English Talk transcript suggests something called sequencers or connectors.
These are magic words. They really are. They are the bridge between your sentences. Simple words like first, then next, after that, and finally.
It seems almost too simple to work, but let's try it.
Okay, give me the robot version of a morning at work first.
I arrive at work, I make coffee, I check my email, I have a meeting.
Okay? Accurate but dry. Very robotic. Now try it again, but use the connectors.
Okay, first, I arrive at work and make some coffee. Obviously, that's the most important step. Then I sit down and check my email to see what happened overnight. After that, I usually have a team meeting around 10.
See the difference. It flows. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It sounds like a narrative. You are guiding the listener through your time.
It feels much more like a story and less like a police report of my activities.
Exactly. And you can add even more flavor by using frequency adverbs.
These were listed in that script document. Words like usually, normally, sometimes, rarely, hardly ever, never.
These are crucial because our days aren't identical. I always check email is a very different statement from I sometimes check email. It tells you about my priorities, my habits.
The placement of these words is tricky, though. Where do they go in the sentence?
So the general rule is you put them before the main verb. I usually eat lunch at my desk. I never call clients on Fridays.
So eat and call are the main verbs, and the adverb sits right in front of them.
Right. But because this is English, there has to be an exception. And the exception is the verb to be, am, is, are, was, were.
So if I'm using am or is,
The adverb jumps to the back. It goes after the verb to be. I am always tired. You wouldn't say I always am tired.
he is never late for meetings.
Correct. Compare that to he never comes late before the verb comes, but he is never late after the verb is.
That is just one of those rules you have to memorize. To be is special.
It likes to be first. It pushes the adverbs away.
Let's look at some specific vocabulary for the grind. I saw the phrase run errands.
I love this phrase, running errands. It sounds so athletic and important, but it just means doing the small, necessary tasks of life.
Like what?
Going to the post office, picking up dry cleaning, stopping by the bank. All those little jobs you have to do that aren't your main work.
So you aren't literally running.
Hopefully not, no. But you are moving around, getting things done. I had to run some errands on my lunch break. It's a very common, very natural phrase.
And one more grammar warning from the Easy English Talk expert regarding the workday, the third person S.
Oh, this is the most common mistake, even for advanced learners. When we talk about routines, we are often talking about other people. My boss, my husband, my colleague.
And we forget the S. We drop it.
All the time. We say, he wake up, or she go to work. It must be. He wakes up, she goes to work. My boss calls me every morning.
It's a tiny sound, just a tiny little hiss at the end of the word. But if you drop it, your English just sounds incomplete.
It really does. It's one of the clearest signals of a non-native speaker. It's the difference between looking like a learner and sounding like a speaker. So please, don't drop the S.
Okay, the workday is finally over. We have run our errands. We have used our connectors. We remember our SIS. The sun is going down. We are heading into the evening.
This is the transition zone. We're leaving the stress of the grind and moving towards rest and relaxation.
We come home, get home, or go back home.
Get home is very common when you want to emphasize the arrival time or the difficulty of the journey. I finally got home late. I didn't get home until 8 o'clock. It has a sense of completion.
And once you are there, you want to relax. But relax is a bit formal, maybe. If I'm talking to my friends, I'm not really going to say I am relaxing on the sofa.
It sounds a bit stiff, doesn't it? A bit like a textbook. This is where you want slang. The Cambridge source gives us a great one. Chill out.
Chill out, or even just chill.
Yeah, I'm just going to chill tonight. It means you are cool, calm, and doing very, very little.
And then there is my personal favorite, veg out. V-E-G.
This is incredibly descriptive. It comes directly from the word vegetable.
So I am becoming a broccoli on my couch.
You're becoming a potato, a couch potato. To veg out means to be completely physically and mentally inactive. You turn your brain off, you sit on the sofa, maybe you watch some mindless TV, and you do not move.
I had such a hard day at work, I just want to go home and veg out.
It implies a necessary recovery. You need to be a vegetable for a little while in order to recharge your batteries.
There is another phrasal verb that describes this process beautifully. Wind down.
Wind down. I love this one. It's a metaphor from the days of mechanical clocks and toys. You had to wind them up with a key to give them energy.
Right, to make them tight and full of tension.
And as that energy ran out, the springs would loosen and the clock would wind down. It would slow until it stopped.
So we are the clocks.
We are the clocks. We are all wound up in high energy at work. When we come home, we need a period of time to slow our internal gears. I read a book to wind down. I like to drink a cup of tea to wind down before bed. It's a gradual transition. You can't just go from high stress to sleep instantly.
But sometimes the winding down is interrupted. We saw the phrasal verb put up with.
Yes, to put up with something. This means to tolerate something unpleasant.
Hmm.
You don't like it, but you accept it without complaining. For now.
So imagine you are trying to wind down with your book, but your neighbor is playing loud drums.
You have to put up with the noise.
Yeah.
You're trying to chill, you're trying to wind down, but the environment isn't letting you.
And eventually you might say, I can't put up with this noise anymore.
And that's when you go knock on their door and the winding down is officially over.
We have dinner. We have dinner. Remember, we don't take it. And maybe we do chores.
Yes. Do chores. Do the laundry. Do the dishes if you're in America. Always do for these household tasks.
And now, finally, the day is done. We are at the end of the line. We can talk about sleep.
The best part. And English has a surprisingly rich vocabulary for sleep. Probably because we are all obsessed with it and not getting enough of it.
Let's talk about being tired first. There are levels to it, right? You can be tired, you can be sleepy, but then you can be exhausted.
Exhausted means your tank is completely empty. You have nothing left to give. It's a very strong word.
Maybe you're exhausted because you were burning the midnight oil.
That's a great idiom from Speak Up English. Burning the midnight oil. It means working or studying late into the night. It comes from the time before electricity, when staying up late literally cost you money because you had to burn expensive oil in a lamp.
So if you were burning oil at midnight, it must have been because you had very important work to do.
Exactly. It implies serious, focused work late at night.
Now, what if you burn the midnight oil so you stay up late, but you also wake up really early?
Then you are in real trouble. You are burning the candle at both ends.
That sounds dangerous
And
inefficient.
it is. Imagine a candle. You usually light the wick at the top. If you light the wick at the bottom too, the candle melts twice as fast. It just disappears. If you stay up late and get up early, you are destroying your energy reserves from both sides. You are going to burn out.
So to avoid burning out, you need to go to bed. But we have much funnier ways to say that. Hit the hay.
I'm going to hit the hay. This is classic farm talk. Back in the day, mattresses weren't fancy memory foam. They were just big sacks, big bags filled with dried grass hay.
Which must have been pretty lumpy.
Very lumpy. So before you slept, you had to physically hit the mattress, punch it, to fluff it up and make it more comfortable.
So hitting the hay literally meant preparing your bed.
And the phrase just stuck. We also say hit the sack. It's the exact same idea.
What if you want to be a bit more polite or formal?
You could say turn in. I think I'll turn in now. It sounds a bit more gentle, a bit more refined.
Or what about call it a night?
Call it a night is the perfect social exit phrase. You're at a dinner party, it's 11 o'clock, you're getting tired, you stand up and say, well, everyone, I think I'm going to call it a night.
It signals, for me, the event is over, I am done.
Exactly. It's polite, but it's firm. It means my activities for the day are finished.
Now, once we are in bed, hopefully having hit the hay, we want good quality sleep. We want to sleep like a log.
Or sleep like a rock.
Yeah.
We love comparing deep, motionless sleep to heavy, inanimate objects. Logs and rocks do not move. They are solid. If you sleep like a log, it means you were in a very deep sleep and you didn't move all night.
Then there's the confusing one, sleep like a baby.
This is so funny because, as any parent knows, babies do not sleep well. They wake up screaming every few hours. They are terrible sleepers.
So why do we say it? What does it actually mean?
It refers to the look of the sleep. When a baby is asleep, they look peaceful, innocent, untroubled by bills or work deadlines. So he was sleeping like a baby means he looked completely at peace, without a care in the world.
Okay, that makes more sense. What about the opposite, bad sleep?
You toss and turn. This is the physical act of moving around restlessly in bed. You roll over, you adjust your pillow, you kick the blankets off, you pull them back on. You just can't get comfortable.
And this often depends on if you are a light sleeper or a heavy sleeper.
Right. A light sleeper wakes up if a car drives by outside. A heavy sleeper could sleep through a thunderstorm right next to their house.
I am definitely a heavy sleeper. Once I'm out, I'm out.
Then you are out like a light. That's another great one. It means falling asleep instantly, as quickly as turning off a light switch. Click. Gone.
Before we close this deep dive, there is one final distinction that is absolutely crucial for your reputation at work. The difference between sleeping in and oversleeping.
Oh, this is vital. Do not mix these two up. Ever.
Sleep in sounds positive to me. It sounds like a good thing.
It is. Sleeping in is intentional. It is a luxury. It's Saturday morning. You don't set an alarm or you turn it off. You make a conscious decision. I am going to sleep until 10 a.m. because I can and I deserve it. It is a joyful, planned act of rest.
I love sleeping in on weekends.
Exactly. Oversleeping, however, is an accident. It is negative. It is a mistake. It means you set an alarm for 7 but you didn't hear it, or you hit the snooze button too many times. You wake up suddenly at 8 and you are filled with panic because you are late.
So if you are late for an important meeting, never ever tell your boss, sorry, I'm late, I slept in.
No, do not say that. That sounds like you made a choice to stay in bed instead of coming to work. It sounds lazy and disrespectful. You must say, I'm so sorry I overslept. It implies it was a mistake, an accident, and that you feel bad about it.
That is a career-saving tip right there.
It really is. The words you choose matter so much.
Well, look at that. We have navigated the entire 24-hour cycle. We've gone from the alarm going off like a bomb to the morning commute, through the daily grind, winding down in the evening, and finally hitting the hay.
It's amazing how much vocabulary and nuance is hidden in the most mundane, everyday parts of our lives.
It really is. And I hope our listeners can see that moving away from that robot list, I wake up, I eat, I sleep, is actually about adding emotion. It's about sharing how you felt during the day. Were you groggy? Did you need to veg out? Did you burn the candle at both ends?
That's the secret to real fluency.
Yeah.
It's not just conveying data, it's conveying your experience. It's about telling your story.
So here's our challenge to you listening. Sometime today, or maybe tomorrow morning, try to narrate your day to yourself out loud. Try to use that structure we talked about. First, I did this, then I did that, finally. And try to weave in one of these new idioms or phrasal verbs.
Maybe admit to yourself that you have social jet lag. It feels good.
Or tell your family you're going to go veg out on the couch for an hour, see how they react.
And that concept of social jet lag is something I really want to leave you with. It's a provocative thought, I think. If so many of us are constantly fighting our own body clocks, if we are always on our way to places we don't want to be at times our bodies hate, are we ever fully awake?
Or are we just living in a constant state of grogginess, waiting for the next chance to hit the hay? That is definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for diving in with us today.
Sleep well, everyone.
We'll see you next time.